Welcome to Learning Management System. Today we shall discuss the last topic of this chapter, that is reservoirs and dams. We will be dealing with reservoir sedimentation, which is the most common problem that is being observed in all the reservoirs. So this is a brief recap of the previous sessions. So you have already studied about spillway. So as you already know, spillway is a hydraulic structure that is built across a river to divert the excess water after filling up the reservoir to the maximum capacity. Spillway ಯಾಕೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತೈತಿ. Spillway, in order to divert the excess water, ಅಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ excess water ಏನ್ ರಿಸರ್ವರ್ ತುಂಬಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಉಳಿತೈತಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನ ಸ್ಪಿಲ್ವೇ ಥ್ರೂದಿಂದ ಡೈವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. That is the reason why spillway are being constructed on the dams. And also you have studied about the different types of spillway depending on the basis of control structure, conveyance channel, and also a terminal structure. And next you have studied about the siphon spillway. As you already know, a siphon, it is essentially a short discharge conduit located above the hydraulic gradient line. And also you have studied about the volute type of siphon spillway and also its advantages as well as disadvantages. Now coming to the learning objectives of today's session, we will be studying about reservoir sedimentation. That is nothing but the accumulation of sediments on the river bed. And also when you know that the sedimentation is being occurred in the reservoir, then you have to study about its causes as well. So then we will be studying about the causes of sedimentation. And also we will take a small case study of Tungabhadra sedimentation, which is the most common problem that is being seen in this reservoir. And next, measures to control the reservoir sedimentation. Definitely when you know the causes, then you have to know about its controlling measures also. And then we will be studying about the test, which will be of multiple choice questions to analyze the better understanding of today's session. So, reservoir sedimentation. Sedimentation. What do you mean by sedimentation? Sedimentation, it is nothing but it is a continuous process where the sediments are being deposited on the riverbed. As you already know that all rivers carry some amount of sediments along with it. That is, all the water that is entering the reservoir carries some amount of finer fractions of soil that may be in the form of silt and clay particles which get deposited on the riverbed, which we call it as sedimentation. So this basically produces the erosion in the catchment areas. Now these days, sedimentation continues to be one of the most important threats to river systems around the world. A study was done on the world's 145 major rivers with consistency long-term sediment records, and the results showed that about 50% of the river have statistically shown a downward flow trend due to sedimentation. And in 2009, it was reported that the global reservoir gross storage capacity and annual reservoir sedimentation rates were compared, and it was suggested that it was at this sedimentation rate, the global reservoir storage capacity will be reduced to 50% by the year 2100. So, as we already know that all rivers naturally transport sediment. However, when the flow velocity and energy of the water is reduced, as the river enters a reservoir, most of the sediment settles along the bottom of the reservoir where it gets trapped off. You can see this in the figure, that is the excess runoff water that is entering the reservoir. It carries the decayed plant matter along with it at the starting stage, and as this plant matter gets deposited in the reservoir, the water level changes. Yes, automatically the water level changes. Initially you have seen the water to be at lower level, but when these plants are deposited, automatically the water level rises, and these plants which grow on banks, when water drops off, they die. And then it rises. So when these matter dies off, due to the presence of planktons and leafy plants, due to their decay, they release some amount of gases. That is, you can see the image at the downstream bed, flooded plants, soil, decay is occurring along the reservoir bed, which gets first filled off. Later on, with the decaying process, certain gases are released from the dying plants and soil, which is diffused here. And then you can see that rather than these material being flooded off, they get trapped on the riverbed only. Then over a period of years and without sustainable management, these sediment deposits will gradually displace the volume that was previously used for the water storage. Clearly ಹೇಳಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ water storage ಗೆ ನಾವು ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಇವು ಡಿಕೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟ್ ಆಕೋತ ಕುಂತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ automatically the capacity of the reservoir will be disturbed. ಏನ್ ಜಾಗ ವಾಟರ್ ಆಕ್ಯುಪೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಈ ಸೆಡಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಯುಪೈ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತ ಹೋಗ್ತಾವ. ಸೊ the capacity of the reservoir automatically get reduced here. So the volume that was previously used for water storage, eventually it has gone down due to the filling of sediment, and as water storage volume is lost, the beneficial uses that depend on storage like water supply, flood control also decline, and eventually they will be lost. ನಾವು ಎದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟೋರೇಜ್ ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಆ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ನಮಗೆ ಸರ್ವ್ ಆಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್. ಅದು ವಾಟರ್ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಫ್ಲಡ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲಿಂಗ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಹಾಕೊಂತ ಹೋಗ್ತೈತಿ, ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕ್ಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ is designed for certain flow, and when it exceeds, no doubt the flooding problem will start. So in this figure you can see the water level has gone high with the accumulation of sediments, and also you are going to see the degassing pressure. That is, this is the pressure which changes the water that is released, that releases free gases from the water. This is again one of the major causes which is being observed in the sedimentation. So now we have studied how the sedimentation is carried out on the riverbed, and now what are the causes of sedimentation? This particular image will best explain how the sediment is being deposited and how the path of the river has decreased or it has changed off. So there are many causes. So one such cause is that is nature of soil in the catchment area. So a particular area soil ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ if the catchment area is composed of loose soil, then it may get easily eroded and it get carried away by the river. On the other hand, if the soil of the catchment area is hard and rocky, the river would not be able to carry the sediment. A particular area of loose soil ಇತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ವಾಟರ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಜೊತೆ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಹಾಕೊಂತ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾವು. ಸಪೋಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಅಥವಾ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ರಾಕ್ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಇತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ಹೆವಿಯರ್ ಇನ್ ಡೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ able to move forward on the river bed. They will get stuck up on the river bed. And next, vegetation cover in the catchment area. That is, vegetation cover in the catchment area. If the catchment area is covered with vegetation like grass, plants, forest, then the erosion of the soil will be controlled and the river will not carry sediment. But if the catchment area has no vegetation cover, then the soil is easily eroded and the sediment load is very large in this case. Next, topography of the catchment area. In case of catchment having steep slopes, then the sediment load is very large in that case because of high velocity of water. If the water flows in the mountainous area in very steep slopes, then the large amount of sediment will be carried out. And as you already know that in India most of the rivers originate from hills. So they carry a large amount of sediment along with them. And next, coming to the intensity of rainfall. If the intensity of rainfall is high, the discharge in the river is increased and the sediment load is also large in this case. In this image, you can see how the sedimentation is caused here. That is, this is a schematic drawing of sediment transport by a turbidity current inside a reservoir and the type of sediment deposits and its affected areas. So here the reservoir sedimentation, or you can also call it as reservoir silting. This deposition of sediment will reduce the water storing capacity of the reservoir. If the rate of sedimentation is more, the reservoir will get silted up in less time and reduces the life of the reservoir. In order to increase the life of the reservoir, some measures have to be adopted to reduce the sedimentation. So in this figure you can see a small suspension of sediments are being carried on the bed load due to the turbidity currents, and initially when they are at the bed load, you can see in the figure, that is, you call it as a feeder because this makes as an entry points to the suspended particles. And as gradually they move forward, you call it as a delta area where it slowly starts moving towards the narrower side, and then you can see the maximum deposition next to the dam, because as they move towards the slope, when they approaches nearer to the dam, maximum of the sediment will get collected next to the dam only. So you can see in the figure, that is the bottom outlet, second one, where the maximum deposit is being taken place, and also the third part, that is having a water intake. Slowly the deposit has increased in that case also, and automatically you can see the receiving water course. So this is how you can see in the image that how the sedimentation occurs in the reservoir. So now we will be taking a case study of Tungabhadra Reservoir in Karnataka. So Tungabhadra Reservoir is a multi-purpose river valley project which is built across the river Tungabhadra near Hospet. It is the lifeline of both Karnataka as well as Andhra Pradesh. So Tungabhadra Reservoir is a multi-purpose river valley project which is built across the Tungabhadra near Hospet, that is in Ballari district of Karnataka. Tungabhadra Reservoir is the lifeline for two states because as it satisfies the need for irrigation, power generation, domestic and industries for both the states. So these are the some salient features of Tungabhadra Dam. It is a gravity dam with a catchment area of 28,179 square kilometers. The length of the dam is about 2,449 meter, whereas height is about 35 meter, and it has a gross storage of 133 TMC and the live storage about 130, whereas the dead storage is 2.3. And this was the year of first impounding of this dam was in 1953 AD, with a water spread area of 380 square kilometers and the total command area of 5.12 lakh hectares. So, as you already know that now these days reservoir is severely affected by sedimentation. So, as per the recent studies, a total of about 30 TMC of storage capacity is lost due to the deposition of silt. And due to the good rainfall in the catchment area, the water flows from Tungabhadra reservoir. In the last year, it has been observed to be more than 211 TMC, and it is for the first time in the recent past 7 years, the outflow from the reservoir has breached to 200 TMC. And this is due to loss in the storage that is due to silting. So you can see in this table that the rate of sedimentation of Tungabhadra reservoir, when a dam is breached or destroyed, a large amount of water is released suddenly in a flood wave, so which is likely to cause catastrophic damage to life and property on the downstream side. So initially, the gross storage was 133 TMC, whereas the latest gross storage was 100, and the loss in capacity has been observed to be about 32. So the siltation rate is 1.55% per year. So these are some of the images of Tungabhadra reservoir where you can see the siltation problem. In the first image, you can see the sediment deposits on the river bed. You can see clearly here. Even you can see some of the plants that are grown on the river bed. And in the second image, how the passage of the river has been decreased due to the growth of vegetation on either sides. And in the third image, where actually you can see the sediment deposits very clearly, the condition of the Tungabhadra reservoir. So when the causes of this reservoir sedimentation were observed, it was seen that industrial pollution has damaged this river very drastically. So industry and mining on its bank is in major, that is Chikmagaluru, Shivamogga, Davangere, Haveri, Ballari district of Karnataka and also Kurnool district of Andhra Pradesh. These districts generate enormous amounts of effluents. Nearly 3 crore liters of effluents are being released to the Tunga from Shivamogga every year. This is just the contribution of just one city, which unlike Bhadravati and Hospet cannot boast of being an industrial city. It is one of the most polluted rivers in the country. Downriver from the industries, the water has turned dark brown and it has a pungent color. Tungabhadra river's pollution has affected 1 million people in the sub-basin, as most villages use the river water for drinking and for day-to-day activities as well as for irrigation also, fishing and livestock water also. And previously, when obtained from an ancient tank system, the livelihood of village fishermen has been harmed by regular fish kills that have exhausted Tungabhadra's fisheries. And as per the recent studies, a total of about 30 TMC of storage capacity is lost, you can imagine how the storage capacity of the reservoir has been lost due to sedimentation. Now we will see a small video of the present condition of Tungabhadra river. This is the river bed which is a little bit low. You can see in the video. The water is clean in some areas. So it is one of the 70-year-old dam which is made up of non-cementitious material. It is designed by an Indian to withstand the test of time. It is the only dam which is to be built of Surki mortar, a combination of limestone and mud. And this dam has 33 gates in all. So here in this video you can see the condition of the river, where there is a large deposit of sediment that is being accumulated on the riverbed, and also you can see the growth of vegetation matter here. So now this particular video shows the present condition of the river. You can see a large deposit of sediment as well as growth of plant, and this growth of plants in water which later on leads to eutrophication, which is one of the major problem in majority of the rivers, where this water cannot be used for any other purposes later on. And also you can see how the sediment has been deposited on the riverbed. This is on the downstream side of the dam. So this shows that the capacity of the river is completely diverted, and also the large amount of sediment deposits on the riverbed. Next we shall see the measures to control reservoir sedimentation. So the first one is selection of suitable site. While selecting a dam site, it should be assured that catchment should be less erodible, so that it will help in reducing the silting problem. And then now dam construct ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, the area should be chosen in such a way that the soil erosion doesn't take place in that particular area. As we already know that the loose soil have a tendency to erode very fast. So in such cases, the construction of dams in such areas have to be avoided. Next is proper design. The reservoir may be designed in such a way that its capacity increases in stages. And then initially we have to construct a dam of smaller height. And when a portion of reservoir gets filled up with sediments, then the height of the dam has to be raised. And next one is control of sediment inflow. So the inflow of sediment to a reservoir can be controlled by two methods. That is one by check dam and the other one is by vegetation screens. Check dam andre enu? These are the small dams which are constructed on a stream to trap the sediments that is carried into the reservoir. So stream idal generally ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಚೆಕ್ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ಚೆಕ್ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಸೆಡಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಡಿಪಾಸಿಟ್ಸ್ ಏನೈತಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಅದನ್ನ ಟ್ರಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ they are prevented from entering into the reservoir. So this is the best method to prevent the entry of sediments into the reservoir. And next one is vegetation screens. Vegetation screens is generally done by afforestation. That is, the vegetation growth are promoted in the catchment areas. So by growing more trees, there is less possibility of soil erosion. And also by the construction of contour bunds. So this is generally done in hilly areas. So here the bunds are being constructed on the slope of the catchment. Slope side hilly areas ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, slope side ಎಲ್ಲ bunds construct ಮಾಡಿ, so they are preventing the soil that is present on the slopey areas to prevent it from getting subsided. So by constructing these bunds, this is one of the best method to arrest the sediments, and also comparatively less turbid water passes over the bunds. And next is control of sediment deposition. So control of sediment deposition in a reservoir can be reduced to some extent by operating the sluices, such that water containing high sediment load are quickly discharged to the downstream. ಈ sluice gate generally dam ಯಾಕೆ provide ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, especially to remove the sedimented water on the water during heavy rainfall. So during heavy rainfall and during floods, the sluice gates are especially kept open to dispose of the sedimented water. And next is removal of sediment deposits. So sometimes these sediments are removed by loosening and then scoring them through the sluices. So sluice gates near the dam may be also used for flushing out the sediments. And then sediment sluice gates are sometimes used for flushing purpose also. And also sometimes sediments are removed by ordinary earth moving machines, and that is by dredging or mechanical steering, but generally these are most expensive methods. And next is soil conservation. As you already know, that is soil conservation. It can be protected on upstream as well as on downstream by stone pitching, which you can commonly see in case of reservoirs and dams. So slope sides ಎಲ್ಲ upstream side downstream side ಎಲ್ಲ stone pitching ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. Next is stabilization of slips. As we already know that most tributaries of the river obtain sediments from landslides only, that are mainly caused due to heavy rainfall, especially in hilly areas. So when this stabilization of slips mainly consists of loose soil. ಈ ಹಿಲಿ ಏರಿಯಾಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಜನರಲಿ ಏನು ಲೂಸ್ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ, ಪರ್ಮಿಯಬಲ್ ರಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವು. ಮಳೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ, ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ನೀರಿನ ಜೊತೆ ಅವು ಹರ್ಕೊಂತ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾವ. ಸೊ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ವೇ ಟು ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ಟೆಬಿಲೈಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಲಿಪ್ಸ್ ಬೈ ಸೂಟಬಲ್ ಮೆಥಡ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಗಿಡ ಮರ ಏನಾದರೂ ಬೆಳೆಸಿ, ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟ್ ದ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ಸ್. And next is control of deforestation. That is to prevent the cutting of trees in such areas by imposing restriction by the government. And next is control of cultivation. That is intense cultivation. So next is control of cultivation. That is intense cultivation in the catchment areas make soil loose, so which may get washed up by rain. So cultivation should be done in a planned manner in such areas. So lastly, we shall conclude that erosion of soil from the catchment is mainly due to the transport of soil from the soil surface and also from the transport by rainfall and runoff activities. So next, deposition of detached material may take place when the transport capacity of flow is smaller than the quantity of material that is being transported. So that is impact due to erosion affects reservoir capacity and to certain extent on floods. So the main cause for erosion is due to deforestation and the soil of the particular area soil ಮೇಲೂ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ, and improper treatment of catchment where the particular methods are not being carried out regarding cultivation and proper use of water, and also hence the suitable erosion control measures are to be implemented for preventing the negative impact so that reservoir can be used for the long run. With this, we come to the end of this session, and now we shall have a small test on multiple choice questions. So this is the better way to analyze the things what we have learned in today's session. So the first question is, what is the shape of valley usually preferred for a reservoir? This you have studied in previous session, that are the shape of valley that is usually preferred for a reservoir. That is U-shaped, V-shaped, flat lands or plains, U or V-shaped. So the answer is D, that is U or V-shaped, because U-shaped are glacial valley, whereas V-shaped river valley or a broader scenical valley are generally used for preferred for the reservoirs rather than flat lands and plains, because those are more convenient places for reservoirs. And next, during which condition permeability of rocks have to be given more importance? That is when general water is much above the top reservoir level, or when general water table is much below the minimum water level, or when general water table and top water level of the proposed reservoir are almost same, or when general water table is slightly above the top reservoir level. So the answer is B, because when the general water table is much below the minimum water level in the reservoir, permeability of the rocks along the base and the flanks is taken into consideration. Now coming to the third question, that is, which is the ideal condition for a reservoir? The options here given are, that is, A, when general water is much above the top reservoir level, B, when general water table is much below the minimum water level, C, when general water table and top water level of the proposed reservoir are almost same, and D, when general water table is slightly above the top reservoir level. The answer is C, because the general water table of the area and top water level of the proposed reservoir are almost the same. This is an ideal situation which ensures that no loss or no gain condition exists, but generally it is not available on a larger scale. Now coming to fourth question, heavy loads of sediments to reservoir would reduce the flow of water in that area, or effective storage, or total life of reservoir, or total life and effective storage of reservoir. The answer is D, that is total life and effective storage of reservoir, because the runoff and slope wash would contribute heavy load sediment to the reservoir after heavy rain. So this would obviously decrease the effective storage capacity on one hand and its total life on the other hand. So now coming to the fifth question, that is, which among the following need not be given prime importance during geological investigation? That is groundwater condition, wind condition, structural condition, trend and rate of weathering. The answer is B, that is wind condition. Since reservoirs are essentially water storage basins, the area should possess such geological characteristics that favor holding of water in the basin so created. So such characters are topographic suitability, groundwater condition, permeability and structural stability, and also the rate of weathering. So the answer is B, that is wind condition. It is not given prime importance. However, we know that an allowance has to be made for the wind. And next, coming to the sixth question, that is, removal of silt is usually time consuming or energy consuming, money consuming, or time, energy and money consuming. So the removal of silt or methods of sedimentation control may be so much time, and energy and even money consuming that the economy of the project is sometimes threatened. So these facts prove complicated and also increases the problem. So the answer is, that is D, time, energy and money consuming. Next, coming to seventh question, that is the major problem in a reservoir over time which may affect the storage capacity is, that is leakage, silting, reduction in rainfall or weathering of side slopes. So the answer is B, that is silting, because sedimentation of reservoir with time is the most important problem to solve the reservoir design. Uncontrolled sedimentation will lead to the indirect failure of the project by gradually reducing its capacity. And next, coming to the eighth question, that is pick a suitable method to control silting. How you can control the silting? That is by grouting or by reducing the water level or by construction of check dams or by constructing lining on the rock foundations. So the best method to control silting is the construction of check dams. So these dams are generally designed as an inlet points at the dam itself to release the excess water or the sedimented water at the initial level itself, that is on streams. As you already know, these check dams are constructed on the streams, and here the sediments are trapped here itself and they prevent the entry of sediments into the reservoir. And next, coming to the ninth question, that is desilting methods are very expensive. True or false? Yes, the desilting methods are very expensive because removal of silt after fixed intervals by dredging is proves to be very costly method, and also however a very costly method, and any one of these methods which are adopted will also have we will also have to analyze the cost benefit ratio also. And next, last question, that is flat lands and plains can make convenient places for reservoirs. So the answer is false here, because the valley or generally the areas which are favorable for the construction of reservoir is either U-shaped glacial valley or V-shaped river valley, which are the best suited for the construction of the reservoirs. So with this we come to the end of this session.